Well, this is Saturday, 1 o'clock, and my truck has 125,747 kilometers on the odometer. Not sure why you need to know that, but I think you do. So that's all I did from February 2018 until now, you know, and that's one advantage of doing a heavy haul is that, at least in my case, I do extremely low mileage, you know, even though of course my fuel economy is pretty bad when loaded, you know, 5 or even like 4 miles a gallon, but I don't do that many miles, you know. So anyway, so my pilot car finally gave up on me because these guys kept postponing, right? So yesterday they said lunchtime Saturday, right? Now the guy is calling me around 10 o'clock, the pilot car. Now it's not the actual guy, it's his son. You know, they have like a team, father and son, and they help each other out. And he says, hey, this is Junior. You talked to my father yesterday. He had to go somewhere, so I'm gonna meet you at the truck stop, Flying J, in Elkton, Maryland, which is 20 minutes away from here. And I said, well, bad news, good news. The good news is that they're still working on it, so it's gonna be ready sometime today. But the bad news is that I just shouted. I went over there across towards the fence, and I shouted to the David guy who's walking around there. I said, hey David, so we should be good for lunchtime for 12 o'clock. And he just spreads his arms, you know, like basically he couldn't give me any idea, you know. And so I told this guy, I said, so 12 o'clock probably not gonna work, so, and I don't know when they're gonna load. And then an hour later I see a bunch of people are walking around there. Some young kid came over to the fence and motions me, and basically it's all the bosses, you know, like as usual. There's one guy working, the mechanic, wearing heavy, you know, coveralls. And you see, I just went from the road, I took an Uber to a McDonald's because it's so hot. It's only like 1.2 miles from here, but it's so hot, it's, I don't know, it's over 100 degrees. You see, like in Celsius it's 41 C, and that's not a joke, you know. And that guy, that poor guy, is working in coveralls. You know, I think it's unusual, you know, like Delaware, it's so hot, you know. That's why I might rethink my desire to live in South Carolina, you know. I want to live somewhere where it's middle, you know. But you know, because I've been thinking about this to relocate my business to US, but do the same stuff I do now. I don't need a green card as long as I move shipments across the border, you know, except now I'm starting in Canada, right? And there's much more loads in the States anyway. You see, like how often I have to go empty into US, right? So if I lived in the States and I was still Canadian, still without a green card, still just using, you know, NAFTA to take shipments only across the border, I would probably be, let's say I'm in South Carolina, so I'll just come from South Carolina here empty, pick up this load, deliver to Canada, and then look for a load back, you know. And the plan is, they want me to go. I said, can you bring the machine here? He says no, because it's private property. So it turns out this part does not belong to them. He says, if we go here, it'll take us a whole day because we'll have to put plywood on the pavement. By the way, you guys notice how I carefully avoid using the word asphalt, because for some reason people found funny how I say that word. So now we have pavement, no more asphalt. Anyway, so they want me to go in there, somehow put my nose of the rig where that gate is, and then disconnect. Oh, wait a second, what? Something is happening there. Wow, it's working. The boom is working. Oh boy, I just hope nothing falls off, you know. Well, at least now the second guy is helping him, right? So anyway, so finally something is happening, some movement from the machine, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna load today. And I told him now there's no rush, take your time. I said I just want to get out of here today or tomorrow, but no, I don't want to spend another night here because there's nothing, no bathrooms, no water. I have to take Uber because it's a pretty bad area, you know. I have to take Uber to McDonald's, and next to McDonald's there's general what is it called, like the store, Dollar General, where you can buy water, and then there's no food, nothing. I'm just lucky that I have my vegan protein. Well, I'm not sure how, but all that experience behind the wheel pays off. Somehow I made it in. I have a vague idea how I'll be getting out, because I have to go that way. You know, basically the rear of the trailer has to go left, but I learned one trick how I can do it. Basically, you cannot do it in one step. You have to back into your wrong place, then go in the opposite direction, then back in the right place, and then I can back out. Basically, it's like playing chess. And of course here you have a building, and you have all the gates, and over there you have a satellite antenna with those yellow posts. So it's super tight. And of course the first thing the shipper tells you, oh, we do it all the time, we load these machines all the time. I hate when they do that, you know, when they say that you basically, like, you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was sitting over there. See, I was sitting behind the fence there, but they don't want to drive it over there. Oh, we need plywood on the asphalt pavement. Oh, check this out. That's a perfectly nice timber. And basically what they're doing now is, see this yellow thingy? So whereas before they needed a crane to install this boom extension, now they're gonna use the machine to install this. They said they don't need a crane, so this just goes, I think it's like, looks like a drill, like the actual thing that goes on the ground. So they're gonna lift it and then I guess put it into that round white thing. So 6 p.m. we started to load the machine, and it was tilting too much. So the guy says, let's load it backwards, because all the weight is on the drill. And as they were sitting on the ramp at the 45-degree angle, the machine shut down. And they were trying to figure out what's wrong with the engine, and then they found that the fuel level was low, so they had to go grab some fuel. So hopefully now we'll be able to load. parked the truck, like these guys over here. There was this one made it difficult, but now they parked a white truck in there, and it's locked, no keys. So, but anyway, it's actually relatively easy because the tracks now are so narrow. See, the tracks are not even sticking out, like it's illegal. I'm gonna put some bungee cords on these. This is the only part that sticks out on both ends, you know. And now I just want to put a couple of chains on while these guys are still here. I want to get out, and because yeah, it's going to be very difficult backing out of here without any help, you know. All right, let's hook up and see what we can do. Oh, and the mirror, I gotta do that. Gotta move that mirror. But basically the plan is to back out with minimum human casualties this time. Yeah, I made it to the truck stop. Today's Sunday, and it's already super hot, and I cannot wear shorts because, you know, I'll tell you a secret, you know, I got very shapely legs. If I wear shorts, girls start following me around. It's very distracting, so I gotta focus on finishing this video. And so they were not kidding about the weight. I scaled. This thing weighs 82,000 pounds. 82,000 pounds, so just under 40 metric tons, maybe 39, 38. And so this is it's called Fight, F-A-I-T, Fight HR-130. It's a drill rig. It's 12 feet 3 inches tall, but the tracks did go inside, and you see it's actually, I'm not sure why I have full flags, but just in case, but it's inside my trailer. And I gotta wash it before I cross into Canada. And here's how I secured it. So 2 chains over there, and then you see at the top over there there's a eye for another chain, but I don't have enough connections here, so I did it like this. And this one connects directly to the hook. I love these with to the D-ring. And so 2 chains on the frame in the back, 2 chains on the frame in the front, and 2 on each track, in the front and in the rear. So I'm running on 8 axles. Everything is tucked in. Oh, one thing I had to do was I had to tie down this little step in here somewhere. Oh, this one. This step, it goes up and down, but it was sticking out like this. So I just use a bungee cord and I move the mirror. So I'm pretty much legal dimensions, like in terms of width, but I'm tall, so my permits are for 14 feet 3 inches. So that's the make.